John 11, verse 38 to 44. Verse 38, that's John 11. Jesus, once more deeply moved, came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. "Take away the stone," he said. "But Lord," said Mother, the sister of the dead man, "by this time there is a bad odor, for it has been there 4 days." Then Jesus said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. Then Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and a cloth around his face. Jesus said to them, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go." There are 2 facts here, or 3. First, Jesus talks of a stone to be taken away from the grave. Second, he says that they will see the glory of God. And there's another element where Jesus says, "I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." Then he also gives a command, "Lazarus, come out." And then the last one, he says, "Take off grave clothes and let him go." Jesus did this to affirm who he was, the glory of God, and the what God has set before his people. Before, we have seen the beginning of this chapter that Mary and the mother, the sister of the deceased, were crying so much, asking Jesus, "We sent a word to you to tell you that your friend Lazarus is sick, but you didn't come. Now he is dead and you are here." And they were like, "Why would you come now?" They went even to a step of asking Jesus, "We sent for you and you did not come." And Jesus told them, "Your brother is not dead, but only sleeping." And Jesus looked at them. Verse 35 of John 11 says, Jesus wept, deeply moved. He wept. After weeping, he told them, "Show me where you have put him." And they were like, "No, Master, no. It is 4 days since he died, and he is stinking." Mother says, "There is bad odor. It is stinking. He is stinking. We cannot take you there." But Jesus gives a command that remove the stone. And the stone is removed. And Jesus takes a step and asks Mother, "Did I not tell you that if you believe you will see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone because Jesus has told them, "Did I not?" He has reminded them, "Did I not tell you that you will see the glory of God if you believe?" Jesus says, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me. And when he had said this, Jesus called out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with the stripes of linen and a cloth around his face. Then Jesus tells them, take off the grave clothes and let him go. Today, most of us are like Lazarus. Lazarus, who was dead and came back to life, but still he was coming back to life. He came with all the wrappings around him. Yes, the dead man came back to life, but he was still wrapped with the grave clothes. The death clothes were still around him, and the people were just staring at him until Jesus said, take off grave clothes and let him go. Lazarus was still wrapped, his hands, feet, and the whole body, even the face. He could not see whoever was talking because the face was covered, the hands were covered, the legs were covered. He was alive. He was restored. He was restored back to life, but he was still covered. Everywhere was covered. Everything in him was covered. He could not walk. He could not speak. He could not see, simply because he was covered all the way around. So the only difference that was there from when he was in the tomb or in the grave and now is only that now he can hear sounds around him, but he cannot see, he cannot walk, he cannot hold, because he is wrapped up with the grave clothes. Until Jesus spoke out and said, take off the grave clothes and let him go. He remained wrapped there. He remained on there. He remained held captive there. As the crowd stared at him, as the sisters stared at him, he was just that way, wrapped, and nothing he could do until he was the clothes were taken off his body. Remember the first attempt when Jesus said that, remove the stone which was on top of him. People around him said he was stinking. So there were voices of people who were not understanding the language of removing that stone. They were seeing him as a stinking man. And even the stone was putting weight on him. The body was there inside the grave, and the stone put the weight. And Jesus wants to liberate this man, and when he tells the crowd to remove this stone, the crowd is saying the person is stinking. The body is stinking. They're telling Jesus, no, there's no reason of removing this stone. This person is already rotten and stinking right now. Then Jesus commands them to do it. Then, after Lazarus is called out, Lazarus, come out. The dead man comes out, but his hands and the feet are still wrapped there. And still the crowd is looking at him. Even the sisters are looking at him. Not until Jesus commands again, take off the grave clothes and let him go. That's when now he is free. to mingle with others, to interact with others, to move on with his life. That's only when he is free to walk again, to interact, to live. That's only when the life is restored. Many of the Christians today are still in the graves. They received the salvation, but they are still in the graves. They are still there, waiting for the stone to be rolled off, waiting for the voice to call them out of those. Many of us, we received this salvation, but we went back to the grave. We buried ourselves to the grave. And until we allow Jesus Christ to come and roll out the stone that has put weight on us, we will remain still there, as people will be saying that we are stinking, as people will keep on shouting we are stinking. Most of us, we have heard the word of God. We have been going to the church. We are good church goers. We attend to every conference, but our lives are still stinking. We are still covered with the veil that everyone looks at us and sees the veil all around us, from the head to the toe, from the forehead to the toes. We are covered with this veil. And until we cry for the revival and the restoration in our lives, that is when this veil will be removed. It is upon us as Christians to allow the veil to be removed by Jesus Christ. Yes, you got saved, you backslided, and even the ways we are walking in, doesn't it please God? That does not make difference from this man who has been restored back to life, but still cannot walk, still cannot stand, still cannot eat, still cannot talk to his people. Still this man cannot interact, simply because the veil is preventing his movement. There are things that have been preventing our movement from the place we are today, from the step you are in. Yes, your salvation has become like a stagnant water. Every step you are making, you cannot go any far. Anything you are doing, you cannot do it accordingly, simply because the veil still hinders you from moving forward. It's high time as a child of God. It's high time as a servant of God. It's high time as a church that we look at the side and see the grave we were in, where Jesus has called us with a loud voice to come out. We examine ourselves, the veil that is covering us, the grave clothes, the wrappings that we have been covered with for a long time, and allow Jesus Christ to shout, to command that the wrappings be removed, that the grave clothes be removed. Unless we allow the grave clothes to be removed, the wrappings to be unwrapped out of our lives, we will still remain stagnant at the same place. It doesn't matter what is wrapping you up. Maybe immorality is wrapping you up, and you don't want to hear people telling you this. It is a sin. Immorality is a sin. Corruption is a sin. Luxury is a sin. Allow Jesus Christ to remove the veil of immorality. Let Jesus Christ remove that veil of alcoholism, that veil of smoking, that veil that is robbing you, that rubber that makes you look faith, that makes you look fear, that makes you not go any step far, that makes you to feel like you can't be torn.